It began as a family vacation aboard the Carnival Horizon, a dream Caribbean cruise for Florida teen cheerleader Anna Kepner. But days into the voyage, the 18-year-old vanished, only to be found dead, her body concealed beneath a bed in her cabin. The FBI took over the investigation, and what it revealed was absolutely shocking, as Anna's juvenile stepbrother has now been implicated and charged in federal court, but is not locked up. Tonight, we take a look at the latest. But first, weeks before Eric Richins died, prosecutors allege he became violently ill after eating food his wife bought for him on Valentine's Day. He survived that incident. In March, he did not. Authorities say fentanyl poisoning ended his life. They allege Kouri Richins obtained the drug and later tried to collect on financial assets. Her defense disputes all the accusations. The case now hinges on toxicology science, electronic messages, and motive. Tonight, we have all the latest from the courtroom as this high-profile trial plays out live on Court TV. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. Great to have you with us, and we've got a couple of big stories to talk about. And we're going to begin, of course, with the trial that you're watching on Court TV. Kouri Richins on trial for the murder of her husband, Eric. But let's talk about Kouri a little bit. When Eric met Kouri, Kouri was working at Home Depot. And yeah, that's a nice job. That is a great company to work for, but her life really changed drastically by marrying Eric. Lived in a big, beautiful home because Eric had this great business that he was building. And it gave him the opportunity to provide for his family in amazing ways. And for Kouri Richins, this was a new lifestyle for her. And I think at some point she's like, okay, I'm now elevated. I've got dreams, I've got plans, I've got ambitions. So she got into real estate, but she ended up being a floundering flipper of homes. Meaning she was buying these houses, dumping money into them, dumping more money into them, dumping more money into them, and getting into debt. And it wasn't successful. Eric was helping to fund it, but at some point he just cut her off and said, that's enough. It's not working. But she was convinced that she could make it work. And that's a big part of this case because that is tied into the motive in this case. But also tied in is Kouri's lover. She was seeing Robert Grossman. And these two, I mean, he was head over heels for her. And she was throwing the L word around, love. She was talking about having a future together, and she also talked about the frustrations in her life and in her marriage with Eric. So you look at the situation, okay, things aren't great at home. Why not just get divorced? It happens, right? It's not the way you draw it up when you get married, but things happen. People drift apart. Maybe they change a little bit, their goals, their ambitions, whatever it is. It's unfortunately very common, and it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. It is a big deal for everyone involved, obviously, but it's not the end of the world. It's not like, oh my goodness, if we do this, then we can't go on. No, you can. But there was one little problem, I think, that Kouri felt, that she was trapped by a prenup. When I say trapped, limited in what she would be able to walk away from that marriage with, despite the fact that they shared 3 children. Like, child support is different, right? And there would have been a battle for custody. There would have probably been shared custody. That's just the way that it happens most of the time, unless someone is really a bad parent and should not be around the children. And there was no indication at the time that they were married that there were problems with Kouri or Eric as a mom or a dad. I mean, the problems were between the two of them. Accusations of infidelity flying around and strain and a lot of tension around the financial issues connected to her floundering, flipping business with real estate. So being trapped by the prenup is really, I think, what prosecutors are trying to get through to this jury, that she needed a way out, she wanted a way out of this marriage, but divorce wasn't really a great option for her. So another big day of testimony today, and a lot of that testimony connected to what's going through Kouri's mind, the frustrations with the marriage, the frustrations with Eric, and what she wanted her life to be. So let's take a look at some of the big moments from today's testimony.
Was there a topic of conversation that came up related to Kouri Richins' marriage?
Yes.
What did Kouri say to you?
Kouri had an opportunity to go to a work event of some sort, like a Christmas gala, something like that. And it was going to be a really good opportunity for her career. She was excited about it. At the same time, Eric had booked a sleigh ride with the family for Christmas, a good family activity, and they had a scheduling conflict, and they did not agree about what they should do for that scheduling conflict.
What else did Kouri say during that conversation about her marriage with Eric?
She talked about how she was feeling trapped. She was feeling like there wasn't an easy way forward out of the marriage. She felt like she was worried about her kids. She was worried that she was going to lose them and that Eric was going to take the kids from her and that his family was going to turn the community against her. And she said that in many ways it would be better if he were dead.
And this part, I swear she said it, but I also feel like if you put me on the stand, I would not be confident enough to actually truly know if she said it, but I swear she said in many ways it would be better if he just died.
Is that your voice?
That is my voice. All right.
And you did say that you wouldn't be able to swear to it on the stand, didn't you?
I wouldn't be confident in that, yes.
Okay.
Have you ever observed Eric sick or injured?
No.
Have you ever seen him use over-the-counter drugs?
No.
Have you ever seen him use prescription drugs?
No.
Have you ever seen him use illicit drugs?
No.
Have you ever observed any indication that Eric used drugs?
No.
Do you recall receiving a phone call from Eric Richins at about 2:11 p.m. on Valentine's Day 2022?
I do.
Without saying what Eric said to you, why is it you remember that phone call?
It was notable, I think, for a couple reasons, but the main reason was just, well, the topics of the things we talked about, but also the emotion, I guess. It was unlike any other conversation I'd had with Eric. Mostly just kind of his spirits felt almost like somber, and anybody that knows Eric, most of the time you would call and he would already be talking upbeat, and this one was a lot different.
Ma'am, were you present at the Richins residence 2 days after Eric's death on March the 6th, 2022?
Yes, I was.
And did there come a time when Kouri Richins was very upset and you went to console her?
Yes.
Why was she upset?
She got in an argument with her sister-in-law.
Did the argument also involve the home?
Yes, the sister-in-law had told Kouri that the house was no longer hers and it belonged to the other sister because she was in charge of everything.
How did Kouri Richins react to learning that?
She was very upset.
How upset?
Crying. I mean, pretty upset.
Did she collapse?
Yeah.
Was she hysterical?
Yeah. She just said she couldn't believe this was all happening.
There's a lot of things a lot of folks can't believe happened in this case and in this story and in this marriage. But that testimony from Becky Lloyd talking about, she was worried about a divorce. It would be better if he was just dead. Let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight, criminal defense attorney, legal analyst Carmen Rowe. Also joining us, you know her as Lawyer Lori on TikTok. It's criminal defense attorney Lori Murray. And finally, attorney Ali Benevento. Welcome to everyone. Okay, so is this powerful testimony or not? Like, was it completely taken out of context? Was it exaggerated? Or did it hit its mark? Where you've got the defendant talking about her life being better if her husband was dead, and then 2 months later, oh, he's dead. Carmen Rowe, start us off.
Vinny, look, this case, first of all, I love watching it. It's the biggest drama I've ever seen on court TV in a long time. I mean, does it hit the mark in the bigger picture of everything else? I think it does. But I think the defense did a really good job of pointing out that this witness is so clear and so, adamant that this is what occurred. But at the time, she's like, look, I can't swear to it. I'm not really sure. She even asked friends as to whether or not that was her correct recollection at the time. So, I mean, look, you put a camera in front of people on the stand in a courtroom and things change really fast. And I think the defense exploited the fact that it seems to have changed for this witness.
Lori, do you think? What do you think does the jury take away from this? Okay, maybe those weren't her exact words, but that was kind of the vibe of the conversation that Kouri, and like divorce is an option, but it didn't seem to be an option for Kouri. I think she's muted. Do you have a little button there you can hit? Now, this is interesting, watching. She's put the finger up. You got it? No? Okay. We'll fix that. Let's go to Ali Benevento. Ali?
I think I may have lost your question now, Vinny, but I think this is a classic situation of the pylon where, yes, while taken out of context, this appears to kind of reinforce all of the points that the prosecution is trying to make, that this woman had a reason to do what they're accusing her of doing, that she had an opportunity, that all of these pieces fit together. And like Carmen said, you put people in a situation where everybody's watching them and they feel important, like an important piece of evidence in the case, they're going to say and do things that they may have had some hesitation in the past, like the one witness did. But I do think that this was an effective strategy by the prosecution to kind of pull a lot of these pieces together. They know that they have a circumstantial case. And so when you have these different pieces of testimony that kind of pull things together and weave this narrative, I do think that it is an effective strategy. But to Carmen's point, I thought that the defense got some great points in by calling that witness out on the fact that she couldn't have sworn to it before, but now she's really certain of it this time.
Right, but you don't have to prove every fact beyond a reasonable doubt, just the elements of the crime, and I hope prosecutors remind the jury of that, because some juries think you got to prove every single fact beyond a reasonable doubt. Carmen, this case it's a spousal case, right? They're married, they have a family, they have children, and the analysis to me always comes down to why not just get a divorce? But the overall vibe that I'm getting from this trial and from this case is that divorce was not viable for Kouri. It's tied to the prenup. She's worried about this, powerful family taking her kids from her, which isn't going to happen unless there's a real problem with you. Like you're going to have, it's going to be shared custody. You may even have primary custody. Who knows? But it seemed in her mind, which is what we're talking about in a criminal case, is the mind of the accused. It didn't seem like that was an option for her, and I think that's a big problem here.
No doubt, Vinny. And it's so funny in the intro that you reminded us that she started off working at Home Depot and has made it to the top of the tier group in her mind. And I think this case for her and for a lot of defendants is about control. She does not want anyone to take control of her children, her lifestyle, her home. whether or not she can have a boyfriend, and so on and so forth. And, you know, thinking about divorce and whether or not, you know, how she could have maneuvered this differently. Remember, and I was thinking of it today as I watched the trial, we're in Utah. This is an ultra conservative community where, unfortunately, divorce is not something that is going to be accepted. She has already talked about through other witnesses that she was concerned about being outed in her community, no longer part of that community. And I think she understood what we're also seeing, which is how powerful and strong and influential Eric's family really is, that they had the ability to set these trusts up without her knowing, and that here he is gone, and they're like, you know what, thanks for showing up, but you can go now. And I think that's exactly what she feared is what occurred here.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that in the next segment, the cause and effect of why that all happened, which is interesting. But at the end of the day, and I think Carmen makes a great point here, is sometimes the divorce in your community doesn't work. I remember a case I covered years ago. Rabbi Fred Newlander ran this big, huge congregation in South Jersey. He had a girlfriend. He wasn't in love with his wife anymore, but he could not divorce his wife because that would ruin his standing in the community. So it's a little different for Kouri, but I get what Carmen, the argument she's making, and I think that's another great argument that prosecutors could make here, is that divorce not an option because she would be, you know, tossed out. She would be yesterday's news, and not be able to live in a beautiful house like this and not have sort of that place in local society. I think it's all working against her, Allie.
I think so too, but more so, you know, the prosecution is trying to say that she had a financial motive here. And so to me, that it's more speaks to she didn't want to be broke again. And so, you know, she had no option for divorce because of this prenup. And so I think it probably ties more into their trying to convince the jury that she had a financial motive to get rid of him, because not only would he be out of the picture and she could be with her boyfriend, but also she would be able to, she would be able to, I'm sorry, Vinny.
You got to cough. Take a moment. Take a moment. That's okay. Should we take a break a little early? Let's take a break a little early. We've got to get lawyer Lori's audio hooked up, and we'll get ready. So when we come back, we'll dive into some more of these issues that Carmen was bringing up. Plus, coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinny Politan Investigates, 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie lived alone in the Catalina foothills near Tucson, living a quiet life when she was abducted. And everyone is wondering why. Was it because she is Savannah Guthrie's mother? Tonight, we investigate.
This is the story of the Richins. Eric, a father of 3, met an untimely end, and Kouri, his widow, wrote a children's book on grief.
She's also charged now with his murder.
He was faced with betrayal and terror.
I know her innocence.
Is their story a tragic romance?
Or a twisted tale of grief?
The truth will come out.
The Grief Author Murder Trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, 8, 7 Central on Court TV.
Ma'am, were you present at the Richins residence 2 days after Eric's death, March the 6th, or on March the 6th, 2022?
Yes, I was.
And did there come a time when Kouri Richins was very upset and you went to console her?
Yes.
Why was she upset?
She got in an argument with her sister-in-law.
And what was the argument over?
She was trying to get into Eric Richins' safe to get the will out.
All right, that witness is Kouri's friend, or maybe at this point, former friend. Chelsea Barney is her name. And, you know, she spent a lot of time with Kouri, so we have these conversations and observe things that were happening, including this moment where she's trying to get into the safe to get the will. But there's a lot of problems. When Eric died, things were not exactly the way Kouri thought they were. and things didn't work out exactly the way she thought that they would work out when Eric died, right? I don't know if she was expecting Eric to die. I don't know if she murdered him. That's what the trial's about. But he did die, and things were not going according to the way she expected them to go. Let's take a listen to more testimony from Chelsea Barney. Remember, again, this is a friend, or perhaps former friend now, of Kouri's.
Did the argument also involve the home?
Yes.
What portion of the argument involved the home?
The sister-in-law had told Kouri that the house was no longer hers and it belonged to the other sister because she was in charge of everything.
How did Kouri Richins react to learning that?
She was very upset.
How upset?
Crying. I mean, pretty upset. Yeah.
Did she collapse?
Yeah.
Was she hysterical?
Yeah.
Did she say why she was so upset?
She just said she couldn't believe this was all happening.
What, ma'am, do you know about Kouri Richins' business?
Very little. Just that she would buy houses, flip them, and sell them.
Did she present to you as being successful at that?
Yes.
Was she very generous to you?
Yes.
Were you aware that she was in any financial distress?
No.
You know what this is reminding me of? Doomsday Daybell. Remember, Charles dies after her brother shoots and kills him, and she's ready for the will, and all of a sudden, Charles had transferred everything over to his sister because he didn't trust Lori. That's what's happening here. Eric doesn't trust Kouri like Charles didn't trust Lori. So they both, you know, with children that needed to be taken care of, had kind of handed things over to their sisters, people, blood, that they trusted and loved and knew would do the right thing. All right, still with me. Carmen Rowe, Lori Murray, and Ali Benevento. So Lori, I mean, this could, you know, this could make Eric look bad, like, oh, da-da-da, but it's in reaction to what Kouri is doing. You know, first the old Valentine's Day special sandwich that she delivered, but also, you know, going in and transferring money and opening up accounts without his knowledge, going behind his back, opening up the line of equity credit and all that. So this is not in a vacuum. This is a direct result of her actions caused a reaction by Eric, and then a reaction by Eric that she didn't expect. What does the jury do with it?
I mean, honestly, I think that they look at this and say it's more evidence of her guilt. It's not that he was doing something wrong. It's that he knew something was up with her. So that would make me more suspicious as a juror. Not that it would look bad on him for going and doing what he needed to do. It's more suspicion on her. So I think that when you look at all of the evidence in this case, I don't see a whole lot of proof that she didn't do it. And there's so many red flags that she did. So this is just another one of them.
Yeah, she's like a walking red flag. Ali, what do you think here? Like, I can picture the moment, right? The way it's being described. Like, what? I don't own the house? I don't get the house? Like to me, she is shocked.
If I'm the prosecutor, and if I'm the prosecutor, that's going, again, straight into my theory that this was financially motivated. And the moment that she realized that she may have done all of this and still not gotten to keep her lifestyle and to maintain the way she was expecting to continue to live, is, I agree with Lori, potentially evidence that she was panicking in that moment, that she may have done all of this for nothing. But again, this is a circumstantial case. And so I think they're doing a good job of pointing out financial motive, pointing out that she may have been financially disappointed or felt like she was spiraling out of control because she could not maintain the things that she thought she was going to be able to maintain. But I haven't seen a whole lot of direct evidence. And so I think that the defense still has some opportunities here.
Yeah, the only difference I'm seeing right now between her and Lori Daybell, Carmen, is that her boyfriend seems to have like some level of normalcy, right? As much as he's heartbroken, et cetera, he's not like, coming back to life and digging graves and predicting the future and ready for doomsday to hit, and selling those bad books. Like, that's the only difference. It's the same situation. Both of the dead husbands were very suspicious of their wives' actions.
No question, Vinny. And just like in Lori Daybell, I think this is one of the worst facts in this trial, where that Eric considered the notion that he needed to protect himself, his children, and his assets from Kouri. I mean, that is a bad fact when just a short time later, then he's found dead under suspicious circumstances that no one can explain. And I just think that this is one of the worst facts that the state is shining a light on to remind this jury over and over again that Eric took precautions for something bad to potentially happen to him in the future. And unfortunately, it did. And Kouri in the room is shocked that he planned, anticipated, and made sure that she could not benefit if anything bad happened. It's a really bad fact this jury's hearing.
Yeah. And like in the case of Charles, I don't think it's as much keeping them from benefiting, but making sure that the kids are taken care of. Like, because she would take all the money, she'd dump it into this flipping business, and it would be gone. Poof, it's all gone. And now the kids are struggling. Let's take a listen to more testimony. Again, this is Kouri's own friend testifying about what Kouri did to her.
We were in a situation of needing a place to live, and Kouri was buying this house to flip it and sell it, and she offered to sell it to me.
Did you accept that offer?
Yes.
What was the arrangement?
It went back and forth for a year on what would work out. And it came down to I would sign the deed of the house, and the house was mine. And I paid a down payment, and I could do what I wanted because I had the deed to the house, but the loan would be under her name, but I would pay the mortgage payments myself.
When you signed that document, what was your understanding?
That the house was mine.
Did you understand that document, upon signing it, that needed to be recorded with Wasatch County?
Yes.
Was that document ever recorded with Wasatch County?
No.
So did there come a time when your understanding changed?
Yes, I emailed the lady I signed the papers with and asked for copies of the paper, and she told me it was never filed with the county.
Did you continue to live in the house?
I did.
Did that change?
Yes.
When?
September 24, I believe. I was evicted.
You were evicted in September 24?
Mm-hmm.
Why were you evicted?
The new owners kicked me out.
Were there new owners because the mortgage was foreclosed on?
No.
Why were there new owners?
I don't know how it all works, but she gave the deed over to someone else, and they owned the house.
Ripping off your friend. She's ripping off her friend, Lori. Like, to me, this demonstrates her character. I mean, she'll turn on anyone. If you're going to do that to one of your close friends, like, what else is she capable of? She is just hungry for any dollar she can get her hands on.
She really is. And I think that going through this trial, and I followed this case from the very beginning, and there is nothing that has come out that has been redeeming of her, other than the fact that she professed her love to the boyfriend, who looks remarkably like Eric to me. But there's not a whole lot that has been redeeming about her. And juries hearing character evidence is kind of a big deal. I mean, it doesn't come in automatically. So the judge is listening to it and making sure that it fits within the rules and is allowing that in as evidence of motive and just character. So I think that it's important to kind of remember that she's on the other side of this. She's a person on the other side of this, and we don't even have any sense of humanity from her. Yeah,
she's not likable, Allie. She's not likable. There's nothing likable about her that we've seen in the trial, right? like from the jury box, you're sitting, you're listening, like, why would you think anything positive about this woman?
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's the state's turn. They're presenting their case. And of course, they're going to be presenting evidence against her, and it's not going to make her seem likable. I do think that she actually, like, from just a optic standpoint, presents well. She doesn't have crazy eyes. She doesn't look angry. I think she's actually acting appropriately. I don't know how much the jury is paying attention, but she's not making faces. She's not smiling or laughing or rolling her eyes. But I agree that a lot of the evidence that's been presented, and especially testimony from friends, that's tough. Nobody is going to like someone that does something like that to their friends. But I need to push back on that a little bit, because I do think she actually presents better than a lot of people do under similar circumstances in trials that we've covered in the past.
You know who she does
We'll
look
see what
like.
the defense does.
You know who she does look like at trial, though, is kind of like that woman from Central Florida from years ago.
She does look like Casey Anthony. I will agree with you on that.
No, she does. Like, that's how they sort of dressed her up for trial as well. And there was another similarity. Like, she ripped off her friends, too. That was one of the things she got convicted of at one point. You know, she borrowed a friend's car. Friend left her checkbook in the car, so she went shopping with the checkbook. Woo! Over at Target. So it doesn't necessarily...
That worked out for our friend in Central Florida, though.
Did you say friend?
Did it?
I hope that was with a small F, right? Like, facetiously. All right. We're taking a break?
That outcome was a little different.
Oh, we've got 2 more minutes. We got 2 more minutes on this. Excellent. Okay, so Carmen, here's the question I have for you. And Allie pointed it out, that it's not necessarily devastating. A jury cannot like you and still set you free in our system. Like, they can do that. In that case down in Florida, they liked her attorney and they hated the prosecutor. So that's possible. What do you think the defense has to do when it's their turn to kind of turn this thing around a little bit? Or is the cross-examination enough?
Vinny, I think, again, I've been so impressed with the defense counsel in this case. They are killing it from my perspective, no pun intended, but they're doing a great job. They're tearing up every witness that comes up there in a different way. You're looking at it from a different point of view. But is that going to be enough? Are they going to really put on a defensive case? I don't know. But just like what you said earlier, I think she's a walking red flag. I think what Lori said is true. Look, you got a liar, a cheater, and a thief. You got the trifecta here, and I think the jury's going to see that. But I think it's striking to me, to what Allie's point was about how she sits there and she kind of looks stoic and everything. And I personally have sat next to defendants, and you tell them, look down, write, don't make faces, etc. But in this trial, I have to tell you, the boyfriend, the friend, they come in here with bags under their eyes. They're upset. They're crying on the stand. And so in that space, all of a sudden, I'm thinking, I need to tell my client to cry a little bit or do something. Her stoicism in the face of friends, a boyfriend she said she loved, on the stand, and she is completely emotionless. And for me, as a defense attorney, it bothers me. And I'm sure in that room, it's bothering this jury to see nothing from her emotionally at all, even though she clearly hurt these people in their lives and impacted them forever because of their relationship with her.
Yeah, even Alex Murdaugh cried a little bit, Lori.
Yeah, he also dripped snot from his nose quite professionally, if you ask me. But to Allie's point, she says she doesn't have crazy eyes. I had a client just last week in a murder trial, and my client had some eyes that were problematic for us. I asked her to write. She wrote the whole time. And a lot of people afterwards have commented how she had no reaction to anything. So, it's a double-edged sword. You could actually comment or look at things and make sure that you have the emotion and you come off, feeling a little disingenuous, or you can sit down and have no reaction whatsoever, and then the jury plays on that too. So honestly, sometimes for defendants, it's just a no-win situation.
I can see Allie has something to say.
Well, I was going to say, here's the thing, and all three of us here, we know this. Here's the thing that the jury doesn't necessarily understand or has no opportunity to know, the public doesn't know. This individual has sat down with her lawyers, her investigators. She has told this story 897 times. And at a certain point, you can only have so much emotion. The more time that passes, the more time that you have to rehearse things and tell stories, it becomes emotionally draining. Now, I'm not making excuses. Obviously, The trial is still in progress. But, just think about the fact that it doesn't always come naturally when you've gone through it multiple times.
And I wonder when she told it 890 times if it was the same every time or if it was 890 different stories. We shall see. All right. Think Tank staying with us. When we come back, we're going to shift gears. We've got an update on the Anna Kepner case. She went on the Carnival cruise with her family, ended up dead in her cabin. The latest on her stepbrother.
As the court is aware through the pleadings, there's a young lady who's passed away. That matter is still under investigation. That was not my client's child, but the stepchild of the mother in this case, and the remaining 16-year-old is now a suspect in that case.
What a tragic case. Anna Kepner was 18 years old, going on a cruise with her family, her blended family. I think the grandparents were there as well. She ends up dead, killed inside her cabin and then stuffed under the bed. And when she didn't show up for breakfast, they were looking for her, and then they found her. Her 16-year-old stepbrother, who was also in the same cabin with her, along with her other brother. All three were staying there, but at one point, just the two of them were there, and the 16-year-old's now been implicated in all of this. And we're learning a lot of this, not from the court system, because the stepbrother's just 16, not from the criminal court. We're learning from family court, because there's a whole battle that is taking place. This is from the divorce case filing. T.H., who is the juvenile, the 16-year-old, was charged by the United States Attorney in the Southern District of Florida for the redacted and homicide of Anna Kepner. Let me read that again. T.H. was charged by the United States Attorney in the Southern District of Florida for the redacted and homicide of Anna Kepner. So it's not just a homicide charge, something else that he did or is accused of doing in this case. Let's bring back in our think tank, Carmen Rowe, Lori Murray, and Allie Benevento. This does not look good, Allie. This looks like something really terrible happened inside of that room. What are your thoughts on how this is playing out right now?
Well, I know what I suspect that redacted portion means, and I will recall when we first talked about this case right after it happened, a lot of us, I think it may have been this very same panel, had those suspicions as well. But, certainly what a horrible, tragic situation for this family. I hope that what I'm thinking is not the case, but it certainly looks like you said, something horrible happened to this young lady before she was killed.
Yeah. I want to put this up as well, also from the divorce case filing. 16-year-old boy, TH, is not in police custody. He's in the care of his maternal uncle. His father is asking the court to change the current child support arrangement with the juvenile's mother, Chantel Kepner. Thomas Hudson says that Chantel expelled TH from her home after he was potentially involved in serious felony offenses. Hudson, again, who's his father, asked that he not be required to continue paying child support because he's in the care of his uncle. But this brings me to my question, like, if he's charged with the redacted and homicide of Anna Kepner, Lori Murray, why is he not in custody?
Well, you know, my thinking is, because I saw this earlier, my thinking is that it's federal court. I don't know that I've ever seen a juvenile tried in federal court, and it had to be federal court because it happened on the cruise ship in open waters. But I don't know that I've ever seen a juvenile be charged, so I'm questioning as to whether they can house a juvenile pretrial, or maybe it's because he was supposed to be getting some kind of psychiatric help. I don't know. You know, the marshals have contracts with local jails to house pretrial, and I don't know that that includes a juvenile situation. That's the only thing I can think of as to why he wouldn't be.
Yeah, Carmen, this is very unusual. I cannot recall in my long history here at Court TV ever covering a story or a case involving a juvenile federal criminal homicide accusation. What's going on here, and why wouldn't he be in custody?
Vinny, I couldn't agree more. I've never heard of such a thing. I do know that juvenile proceedings at the state level are very, very different than adult proceedings, the goal within which is rehabilitation, not punishment. So it's not uncommon for juveniles who are charged with even serious offenses not to be held in custody right away, to be getting treatment and counseling, as Lori said, and things of that nature to prepare them to stand charged with and respond to allegations, but really with a mindset towards they're young, we're going to rehabilitate them, and we're not really looking for punishment like we would in another matter involving an adult, certainly something as serious as this. And just like Allie said, we talked about this case right after it happened. We speculated about a lot of things as regards what could have been happening between these two kids in that room. And it's just heartbreaking to hear that the details are coming out this way for that family.
All right, big thank you, Carmen Rowe, Lori Murray, Ali Benevento. Great as always. Thank you so much. When we return, I'll reveal something else you need to know tonight, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinny Politan Investigates, more than a month has passed and still no sign of Nancy Guthrie and no named suspects. How well is this investigation going? Tonight, we investigate.
This is the story of the Richins. Eric, a father of 3, met an untimely end, and Kouri, his widow, wrote a children's book on grief.
She's also charged now with his murder.
He was faced with betrayal and terror.
I know her innocence.
Is their story a tragic romance?
Or a twisted tale of greed?
The truth will come out.
The Grief Author Murder Trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, 8, 7 Central on Court TV.
Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at the big board. Oops, she did it again. Britney Spears arrested and released, but the charges remain a little unclear at this moment. Was arrested Wednesday night, Southern California, booked early the following morning. Charges aren't clear. According to the Ventura County Sheriff's Office website, messages seeking comment were left with the Sheriff's Office, the California Highway Patrol, CHIPS. Apparently she does, though, have a court date on May the 4th. And May the 4th be with Britney. All right, folks, take a look at your screens. We have a missing child who needs your help tonight. This is Deandra Jane Agnew. Deandra missing from Mesa, Arizona, just 16 years old. please take a look at her photo, pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference if you see her. You can call 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Mesa Police Department out in Arizona. Let's see if we can get Deandra to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.